Hello everyone. In this video, I want to show you some endgame positions from my own games. So in this game, I was playing with the white pieces, and when my opponent checked my king with their rook to f2, I decided to block with my rook. Now, you need to decide here. If you have black pieces, would you play the rooks, go to the pawn endgame, and draw this endgame with your king against the pawn and the king? Or would you not trade and keep the rooks? Now, in this case, we should keep the rooks because keeping the rooks would allow you to keep your chances to draw more. Because with a rook, we can cause some trouble. We can check, we can try to attack the pawn, not allow white to promote with our king and rook. But if we trade, this is going to be very simple win for white. And that's what happened in my game. My opponent traded rooks, and here I was able to move to the key squares of my pawn. For past pawn, the key squares are two ranks ahead, and the ones that are on the side. If my white king can get to one of those squares, then I will be able to promote and win this game. And I could easily see that I will be able to do that. And my opponent, when they traded the rooks, I was able to win. And here, even if black plays, let's say, to e5, not allowing me to move to one of the key squares, I can just take the opposition. And whenever black moves, I will be able to move to one of the key squares, and this will allow me to win this endgame. Now, this endgame, this position, is always winning for white. Uh, no matter whose turn it is, it's always winning for white, unless an exception is when the pawn is on one of the edges of the chessboard. If we have this position on the A file or the H file, it doesn't win for white. Now, let's see another endgame position, again from my games. Now, in this one, again, uh, my opponent's rook was on G5 and I had the black pieces. Here, all they had to do was trade rooks, and then I was not going to be able to improve my position. I wasn't going to be able to enter white's side of the chessboard and win the pawns because the white king could have simply stopped us. Now, but my opponent decided to play rook to g4. Now, of course, here it's going to be easy for black to win this because if I trade the rooks, now, this pawn is going to be easy for me to capture. Let's see. Let's say white is waiting to see whenever we attack, they're going to defend their pawn. Now, how to defend that white pawn? If white defends it from f3, how can we win that pawn? We can just wait, and the white king is just going to leave the pawn. We're going to capture it with an extra pawn. We can win this game. We go back. Okay, maybe white is going to defend from h3 because now we cannot move to h5, h4 with our king. So how can we win this one? We can win by sacrificing the f pawn. We sacrifice the f pawn and we capture white's g4 pawn, and now we will be able to capture a white's pawns and win the game. For example, let's see if white tries to play king to e3, we can just take the opposition here, and whenever we attack, here we can just wait, and because we have more space, our king is more active, we will be able to win this pawn and win the game. So after winning the pawn, that's going to be easy to win this game. So let's see another end game, a third one. So here, in this one, this was very interesting. I had the white pieces, and I want to promote. But of course, I don't want black to capture my pawn. So what I played is rook to b4. Now, with rook to b4, I'm pinning this rook. So I do want to promote on my next move. And if my opponent captures my rook, I'm going to promote again. So at this point, my opponent resigned. And then later, when I was analyzing my game and seeing what a wonderful move I did, I noticed that in the analysis, the computer engine was suggesting a move for that draws this one. And if you try to find it, what would it be? So here, the move is king to h5, because with king to h5, I cannot capture the rook. Okay, I can, but it's going to be a stalemate. And if we go back, what else will I play? Because on the next move, black does want to capture our pawn. If we promote, black will be able to capture our pawn, and this will be a draw. So my opponent was could have, instead of resigning, could have continued the game and drawn this game. So let's see another one. In this one, in this end game, if I had the white pieces. If black just stayed on h6, g6 with a king, I was not going to be able to win this game. But my opponent decided to play king to f7, which is very important reason why we should study endgames a lot. Okay, especially pawn endgames. They happen very frequently. And in maybe winning position, we won't be able to win, or in drawing positions, we won't be able to draw. So studying endgames, especially pawn endgames, is very important. So here, just the second my opponent played that move, I knew that this is just going to be winning for me. So we can just win by taking the opposition and then outflanking the opponent's king, and we will be able to win their pawn on e6 and win the game. So here the winning move would be taking the position but diagonally, and then we take the opposition. And now, of course, any move that black plays except king to f7, we will move to f6 with our king. So definitely black's playing king to f7, and we outflank the opponent's king, and we'll be able to easily win the black pawn. Now, okay, what will black play? Let's say here, anytime we attack and they defend, we can just wait for their king to move away and win this game for sure after capturing the pawn. Now, let's see one more endgame. Here, I had the white pieces, and I had to decide if I should trade my rook for the bishop to go for a simple pawn endgame, promote my pawn and win, or not. So here, what would you decide? Would you trade your rook for the bishop and play the pawn endgame or not? So I decided not to because again, knowing some studying, some pawn endgames, I knew that if I capture now I need to try to make it with my king to one of the key squares of this passed pawn, which are f5, g5, h5. But I know that I'm not going to be able to get so the black king won't let me do that. Let's say if I play king to f3, the black king just simply plays to g5. How will I ever get to one of those key squares? I won't be able to do that. And if I push my pawn, now the key squares move to even further away from my king, and I will never be able to get there if black plays correctly, of course. So this game was going to be a draw. So if we go back, here the right decision is to wait when my king's position is better, maybe then sacrifice my rook for the bishop and go to the simplify the game to go to the pawn end game and win this game. And that's what happened after a few moves. After a few moves, I reached this position. And when I knew that my king position is very good, and I will be able to get to the key squares if I give my rook for the bishop, that's when I decided to give up my rook for the bishop. I checked and captured the bishop, and now I am on one of the key squares of my pawn, and I could easily promote this pawn and win this game.